Hey everybody, C-Wing here. This next video is going to be completely different. It's not the DVD stuff that you're used to. This is inspired by the PlayStation Access YouTube channel that had 7 games that changed my life. And it got me to thinking, what games inspired me? What games changed my life? They might not necessarily be my favorite games of all time, but they're definitely games that shaped my life and what I like, even down to the people that I've met. Just to give you a quick background on myself, I'm from a long line of gamers in my family. My dad, he played in arcades. My mom worked at Atari as a game tester. She used to bring us home games in the early 80s and I would play them. I even played on stuff that shouldn't technically have left the Atari labs. As we go through the video, it's going to be in chronological order of the games that made a difference on me. Alright, with the intro out of the way, let me know what you guys think in the comments. What would your 7 games be? Alright, let's get to the list. The very first game I'm going to cover is Donkey Kong the arcade game. I didn't play it in the arcades, I actually played it in a grocery store called Alpha Beta. I don't know if you guys remember that place, but it was a grocery store kind of like Safeway or Walmart or Target or Lucky's or whatever you guys call it. I don't know what you guys call your grocery stores in the South or the Midwest, maybe Piggly Wiggly's, but yeah, it was they used to have arcade machines in the front of the grocery store, and so what my family would do is they would take me on a cart, you know, a little C-Wing up there in the cart like this picture here, and I would, you know, I'd sit up there, play Donkey Kong. My older brother would play Miss Pac-Man, and I just remember kind of being mesmerized by the colors and the sounds and the monkey, you know, Donkey Kong himself. Now, the chicken or the egg question is, did I like Donkey Kong because he's a monkey? Or did I like monkeys because of Donkey Kong? That'll always be up for debate, but this game stands out because it made me realize that I loved video games. This was the first one that I gravitated to versus the Atari games that my mom would bring home. Like, this one felt special. So, on my list of top 7 games that changed my life, Donkey Kong Arcade for getting the initial hook in me to love video games. The next game on my list is Mike Tyson's Punchout. I was 8 years old. I remember playing this all the time. I had troubles with King Hippo and the Great Tiger, but eventually I made it to Mike Tyson. 8-year-old me made it to Mike Tyson. I even remembered I had a code that I could get to him directly, but I did it the legit way. I actually made it to Mike Tyson, and I became so obsessed with the game and learned the patterns so severely and so intensely that I eventually did beat him. I remember one time I jammed my neck. Almost broke my neck doing a wrestling move in real life. I went to the doctors, and instead of talking about my injury, I talked about fighting Mike Tyson in the video game. So the game really did have a hold on me, and he realized that A, I could remember patterns in video games, and B, I could play them and be good at it. Back in the day, I wasn't so great at games like Metroid or Zelda. Those games still kind of intimidate me. Props to my older brother for getting through the original Metroid without a strategy guide. That was very impressive. I was always scared to play those games. Mario Brothers wasn't really doing it for me, but Mike Tyson's Punch-Out was the sweet spot, and I actually did good at it. So props to Mike Tyson's Punch-Out for making me realize that I was good at video games. Next on the list is Rastan. I don't know if you guys have ever played this one. This was a classic in the arcades, but I would almost want to say it's like a hidden gem. Like, not too many people know about Rastan, but basically imagine Conan the Barbarian as a side scroller, and it's amazing. It's a fantastic game. To this day, I've never beaten it. It was a game though that I got to bond with my older brother and my dad on, and to me that's special because my dad and I weren't exactly the closest, and my brother and I not so much either, but the one thing that brought us together and that's always brought us together is video games. Playing Rastan with them and kind of, you know, comparing notes, so to speak, and strategies and stuff. I don't know. Just to me, it's like soup for the soul. It's just a very special game. And to this day, it's my white whale. I have not beaten the game yet. I don't know what it is, but as I get closer to beating the game or the later levels, if you die, they just immediately give you game over. It's kind of weird, even if you're like doing a ROM, like you still can't beat it. But yeah, I think it's a special game because it brought my family and I together. And when I have kids, I definitely want them to play it and experience the joy and frustration of Rastan. Alright, next on the list, Resident Evil 1 for the PS1. So you've heard the stories of going from, Atari to Nintendo, Super Nintendo, a lot of those games on this list, to Resident Evil 1 on the PS1. And I don't think you guys realize how special this game actually was. Like, you had characters, like, showing emotions. They were emoting at each other. They had inflection in their voice. Sure, it was cheesy, but they were still acting. Like, they were still talking to each other about what the hell was going on in this house. And I remember just being absolutely amazed. My older brother being absolutely amazed. My stepdad crying when, spoiler alert, Barry dies at one point, or he could die. It was just, I've never experienced a video game like that. To go from 8-bit hardware to 16-bit to 32-bit, to me, Resident Evil 1 was the one that just like brought you in and said, hey, this is what you're missing out on. This felt special, felt next generation. And to this day, I feel like I've lived in the Spencer Mansion. I used to play it all the freaking time. As a matter of fact, funny story about Resident Evil 1 on PS1 is we didn't know what a memory card was, so we would play Resident Evil, and it would always, of course, load us back to the beginning. So we're like, oh, this must be like a one kind of playthrough thing. So we would play it over and over and over, and I remember I would make it all the way to Enrico in the caves just all the time. So I know the Spencer estate, the PS1 Spencer estate, like the back of my hand. And it was a game I actually bonded with my stepdad over. And it moved me to the point where eventually I interviewed Gregory V. Smith, who played Barry Burton. That's how much I love this game. And I was able to convey to him how special the game was, and my stepdad crying at his death and stuff like that, and finding out little behind the scenes tidbits of filming the game. It was a dream come true that I got to do that. And yeah, it just, the graphics and the music too, it was just everything about it to me screams special when other people see cheesy. I think it's an amazing game. It's an amazing experience, and I highly recommend it to everybody. To me, it'll always be a game that just felt way ahead of its time, and when I go back and revisit the Spencer house, I still get those same feelings inside that I did when I was a teenager. So Resident Evil 1 PS1, definitely on the top 7 games that changed my life. Next game on the list, just as important as Resident Evil 1 actually. This one is like, I get so much flack for this one, even more so than Resident Evil 1, but Mortal Kombat Mythologies Sub-Zero for PlayStation 1. I'm actually, I don't know if you can tell by my voice, I'm actually getting happy. The hairs of my arm are standing up as I'm recording this audio. But I remember in like 97, we didn't have computers a lot, or households didn't have computers a lot, I'm sorry. And I remember in high school, I would go to our computer lab and I would go online at, I think, videogames.com or something like that. And I would look up the Sub-Zero RPG, and I'm like, wow, this is interesting. The Sub-Zero RPG. Bihan, aka the original Sub-Zero, always my favorite Sub-Zero. So you're making an RPG about this? I saw the concept art by John Tobias. I was completely blown away by it. I thought it looked beautiful. And I can tell you exactly where I was when I played this game for the first time. I remember I was getting out of high school, my mom picking me up, and we had to drive to Walmart in Mountain View on San Antonio Road. Shout out to that place. And across the way in the parking lot, it's a really big parking lot, but there was a Funko Land. I don't know if you guys remember that place, but inside the Funko Land, it was October 1st, by the way. So October 1st, 1997, I go in there, and it was an overcast day, by the way. I remember everything about this day. But I go in there and I play, and I see Mortal Kombat Mythologies for the first time, and I was just like, oh my god, this is the game. This is the Sub-Zero game. Oh my god. And so I play it, and the graphics were everything I thought they'd be and more, like in a good way. Like I'm still crowing about it. Like I just stepped foot in the Funko Land. I'm there for a second with you guys. And it was the temple level, of course, and you're fighting, and you see the moonlight in the background, and the place where the little ledge that you have to jump on to then fall to the was it the awning, or the thing that blocks the sun, or whatever the hell you call it. I don't know what you call that thing, but you bounce off of it and you land on the ground. I thought that was absolutely amazing. I remember going home and I just told my mom, like, I want that game. I want that game. My birthday's 10/28. Surprise, surprise. It's in the name. October 28th. But I remember getting that for my 17th birthday. And I just remember being completely blown away by it. I loved it. I actually got used to the freaking controls. And I know that's the biggest thing, is you have to get used to the controls. And I was so impressed with this game. I emailed from my school. I emailed the cast of Mortal Kombat Mythologies, and the only one that wrote back was Leah Montalongo, and we became IRL friends after that. I'm actually friends with Serena, my video game crush. I wrote as a 17-year-old, and she was, I want to say she was 21. If you watch the interview, link above, I actually interviewed her, and we talked about us emailing each other for the first time and becoming friends off of that. And I think this one might be the most special one on my list because I became friends with somebody that was in a video game. Like, I love this game so much, and even though I get pushback all the time, I remember I was at a video game store called Digital Stuff, and this guy asked me, he's like, what video game do you like that everybody hates? And I was like, Mythologies. And he stops pricing the video games. He goes, Mythologies? Gives me a kind of a side eye, but I love that game. I love what it means to me too, and I just love the fact that I was able to maintain a friendship with somebody that's in the game, and that's just genuinely a cool person, and that I got to interview years and years and years later. If you want to watch the interview, it's in the channel. But Mortal Kombat Mythologies is one of the most special games to me. I even have the original Game Fan magazine and the original strategy guide with the art where they talk about the game. I don't think I've ever experienced a game that was marketed quite that way. Maybe Tekken 3, but it didn't have that same impact on me that Mythologies did, where I know exactly where I was. I remember the day. I remember everything. But yeah, this is, I might, if I have to rank them in terms of just impressions on my life, Mythologies might be number 1. Right, number 6 on the list. This is, of course, in chronological order, but Metal Gear Solid 3, Snake Eater. I loved Metal Gear Solid 2. Another one I get flack for. Not as much as Mythologies or Resident Evil 1, but still, you still kind of get that because the story is a little confusing, but kind of true nowadays. Everything's going digital, but I digress. I loved Metal Gear Solid 2. I thought it played amazing, and the music by Harry Gregson Williams was great. So I jump into Metal Gear Solid 3 with, high expectations, but I didn't expect to be blown away like I was with MGS3. Big Boss, or Naked Snake, in my opinion, is the greatest video game character ever made. Like, that man went through so much, and just the story of how he became a quote-unquote villain. I would buy that man a drink if he were real. Like, he went through so much stuff and came out not on, I wouldn't say unscathed or on top, but he came out on the other side, unlike quite a few people in the game. But the story was just moving. Like, that's the closest I've ever gotten to crying in a video game, was just the story of Naked Snake and how he became Big Boss. Beautiful, beautiful storyline. The music's incredible. The camo system's fantastic. To me, it solidified that I have a favorite game that I can point to. It's MGS3. I have a favorite video game character, Big Boss MGS3. No one even comes close. Even to this day, nobody comes close to Big Boss. And I have a favorite creator. I love Hideo Kojima. I've tweeted at him before. He's retweeted me because I've had Boktai and Lunar Nights and stuff. I'm a big fan of his work. I have his autograph from Death Stranding 2 on my wall. But it definitely changed my life in the sense that I was moved by the story. I have a favorite artist now in Kojima, and I have a favorite protagonist, which is Big Boss. And my favorite rivalry in video games would be Big Boss versus Ocelot. I thought that was so well said, and it tied up so many loose ends. I thought it was fantastic. For a while it used to be Bihan versus Hanzo, but Big Boss versus Ocelot's much better. And it's a story like of camaraderie also, and it's just great. I can't say enough good things about it, but MGS3, number 6 on the list. And number 7 on the list, of course in chronological order, but Left 4 Dead. Now, if you're asking me why Left 4 Dead, it's just a zombie FPS game. What's special about this game was it unlocked something in me that I didn't even know was there. And to this day, I take extremely seriously, and that is achievements. The very first achievement I got was the one where you shoot the boomer, and you get the vial on you, and you have to fight off the horde without being touched. I remember getting that, and I just went, whoa, what is this? What the hell is this thing? And it was my first experience in achievements, and at first I thought it was like real currency, and I'm like, oh, I get to buy video games off of completing objectives? Okay. But then when I realized that achievements are basically it's a scoreboard on your Xbox Live list, and now on your Steam and your PlayStation. I'm looking at you, Nintendo. Hurry up with your achievements. Anyways, but it was the first game that exposed me to achievements, and I became absolutely hooked on them, and it made me push harder to play Left 4 Dead 1. I kept playing it over and over and over, and I'd get my friends in, and we would try to do the whole no mercy mission on expert without being hit. It was so much fun. It was so good, and yeah, I don't know. I'm just grateful for that. I look back on Left 4 Dead 1 with fondness because of what it showed me, and you know, it just got me into part of gaming that I'm addicted to and has made me push harder, which is achievements. So yeah, Left 4 Dead 1 kind of snuck in there and said, hey, these are achievements, check this out, you're gonna love it. And to this day I still do, so thank you, Left 4 Dead. All right, so that about does it for my top 7 countdown. But what's your take? What are your guys' thoughts on the games that I listed? I'm sure I'm gonna get pushed back on a couple of these, but what would yours be? You make another video, tag me in it, or let me know on the X or the Instagrams or the Discord or the Twitch. I will check it out. I'll give you my take on what I like and what I don't, and it's always fun to compare notes and go over things like this. This is why I love video games, because you're never gonna get the same answer as the other guy. I have a different answer than the guys on PlayStation Access. But yeah, I want to thank PlayStation Access for the idea. I want to thank Sega Lord X. Just respect both their channels a lot, and yeah, I'm gonna try to do more of these videos. I don't know how long it's gonna take, but it's different than the DVD stuff right now, and yeah, I'll catch you guys later. Till next time.